Hi TCC friends, it's Bonnie here with a broom, and we're about to do something of a bewitching workout, part 1 of which will be standing, part 2 will be on the mat. If you don't happen to have a broom with you, stop this video now and go get one in the kitchen. Or you can go and get a golf club, that works very well, a piece of PVC pipe, that works very well, or a yardstick would do. I happen to have a pole that sometimes I use. It needs to be about 3 feet long, could be longer, this broom is longer, but anything that you got around the house will work, doesn't have to be heavy, light is quite good. All right, so hopefully you're back now with whatever implement you're going to use. Look down at your feet and make sure the outer edges of your feet are parallel to the outer edges of your mat. Take whatever implement you have, I will refer to it always as a broom now, and you're going to press it back against your thighs. And as you press back against your thighs, lift your kneecaps to prevent your knees from pushing back. Lift your pelvic floor, lift your navel slightly. And let's just start the session, as I always do, by breathing. So with your chin level, let's inhale through the nose, feel the ribs go out to the side, and exhale through the mouth through pursed lips and feel the ribs come in. Dipping your chin ever so slightly, inhale, and feel the back top of your skull reach up to the ceiling and your tailbone reach down to your heels. Now keep the length you've established in your spine and exhale, pull the ribs in. Inhale, get long again through the spine as the ribs go out. And as you exhale, pull the outer edges of your feet apart and wake up the outer edge of both sides of your legs. Inhale here to hold that. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, get longer again through the spine as your ribs expand laterally. And as you exhale, pull the inner edges of your feet toward one another without collapsing your ankle bones. And you'll wake up the whole inner line of your leg from the inner ankle all the way up through your groin muscles. Inhale here to hold that. And exhale, let it go. Building on that, inhale, get length and get broadness through the ribs. As you exhale, keep the length, get narrow through the ribs, pull your feet together, pull your ankle bones together, feel the inner thigh engage and pull up on your pelvic floor gently, no gripping. Inhale and hold that, and exhale, let it go, and let's start to move. On the inhale with nice straight arms, you're going to lift your arms up, have the upper arms right next to your ears, and bring them down. Make sure that your ribs don't pop forward as the arms go up. Inhale up and exhale down. If you need to hold a little wider because your shoulders are a little tighter, that's fine. And down. Let's do it one more time. Inhale up, hold those ribs back, tailbone down, thighs lifting, and exhale, come back. Now let's add a little movement of the body to this. So this time as you go down, draw the chin to the chest and just your upper body. Your hips don't go back, they stay where they are. And you're going to curl your upper body until you feel like a candy cane or a staff. And then you're going to come back up to neutral. When you bring your arms over your head, pulling your thighs back, you're going to bring your arms in back of your ears if you can, and lift your chest. Your ribs will open here. And then you're going to go down into flexion. Let's make this an exhale and come up into an extension on the inhale, because exhales facilitate flexion and inhales facilitate extensions. Let's do one more. Exhale and inhale. Now keep your arms above your head and then bend them. You want to catch the upper trapezius muscle, which goes from the base of the skull all the way down towards the shoulder blade. Catch the flesh and the muscle underneath it right there. And with your broom or whatever else you're using, pull it away from your skull. so that if you dip your chin, you'll feel a definite stretching of the muscles in back of the neck. So let's do that 2 more times. Just nod your chin, pull your ribs in, tailbone down, thighs up and back. And 1 more time. Feel the stretch in the back of the neck. Great. Now bring the right ear towards the right shoulder and give a little bias towards pulling down harder on the left side. And now go to the left side and give a little bias to pulling down a little harder on the right. And do that again. You're going over to the right, pulling a little harder on the left, and going to the left, pulling a little harder on the right. Now keep the pull of the muscle. Remember, you're trying not to get the bone, just the muscle and skin pulling. Keep your chin level, and you're going to look as far as you can over your right shoulder, and come back, and look as far as you can over your left shoulder, and come back. Let's exhale as we look right, and exhale as we look left. Now go over to the right, drop your chin so you're looking down at your right shoulder, and you'll feel this part of your neck, sort of that diagonal part, stretch more. Level your chin, come back to the center. Look to the left, look down at the left shoulder. Level off your chin, come back to the center. 1 more like that. Look to the right, look down at the right shoulder, level the chin, come back to the center. Look to the left, good. Look down at the left shoulder, level it off, come back to the center. Now 1 more add-on. You're going to look to the right, drop your chin towards your shoulder. And very gently, you're going to roll your head from your right shoulder until it's all the way to the left, looking at the left shoulder. Level the chin there. Come back to the center. Look to the left. Nod the chin so it's looking at the left shoulder. Keep pulling those muscles down from your skull. Roll the head until it's looking at the right shoulder. Then level it out. And come all the way up. Pull your ribs in, reach your arms up to the ceiling, and bring it down. Take your left hand, and you're going to pull it in front of the middle of your chest and stretch out your right hand. And I want it really stretch. Stretch is the word. We're trying to get this pectoral muscle here to stretch and open. Okay, and so as we do this now, I want you to keep your hips fairly stable. And you're going to rotate to the right, looking at the right wrist, and pulse 3 times. So we're going to pulse 1, 2, 3, and come back to the center. And 1, 2, 3, come back to the center 1 more time. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, come back to the center, and then switch sides. Think when you're rotating left that the left hip point is going to have a little pressure forward so it doesn't follow the left rotation of the ribs. Then have your right hand in front of your chest. The pole or whatever comes at the heel of the hand. Stretch through that left arm until you feel the stretch in the muscle. And rotate here for 1, 2, 3, and come back to the center. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, come back to the center. Remember, hip point pulling forward a little bit. 1, 2, 3, come back to the center, and then center your arms. Bring the pole or the broom above your head. Again, stabilize your hips, lower your shoulders, keep broad across the chest, and let's pulse 3 times in a rotation with the arms above the head. So here we go. We're going to rotate 1, 2, 3, come back to the center, and other side, 1, 2, 3, come back to the center. First side. Exhale, 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 inhale, and other side. Exhale, 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 inhale. 1 more in either direction. Exhale, 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 inhale. Last one. Exhale, 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 inhale, and drop your arms. Let's go into lateral flexion now instead of rotation. So we're going to lift the arms above our head, lowering the shoulders, lengthening through the side body, and keeping your head centered on the pole. You're going to go over to the right once and come back. Now go over to the left, and when you're going to the left, go as far as you can, and then pulse 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and come back up to the center. Starting on the left, you go once to the left and come back up. And now you're going to pulse 3 times to the right. 1, 2, 3, and come back up. So we start on the right now, once on the right, and come back up 3 times on the left. 1, 2, 3, come all the way back up. We're going to go once to the left, come back up, 3 pulses to the right. 1, 2, 3, come back to the center. Don't let those shoulders lift. We're going once to the right, come back up, 3 pulses to the left. 1, 2, 3, come all the way back up. Starting on the left, we're going once to the left, come back up, 3 times to the right. 1, 2, 3, come back up, drop your arms. Let's see if we can put the first variation of a rotation with the side bend in this flow. So you'll start with your arms stretched, keeping your hips stabilized. You're going to rotate and pulse 1, 2, 3. Come back to the center, center your arms. Bring it above your head, go to the opposite side, that is to the left, and side bend with 3 pulses here. And come down, come back, go back to that stretched arm position. We're going to rotate 1, 2, 3. Come back, center your arms, lift it above your head, side bend to the left. 1, 2, 3. Come back, lower the arms, get ready for the rotation. It's exhale, 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 inhale, lift up on another inhale, and exhale, exhale, exhale. Come back to the center, lower your arms, and switch directions. Now we're going to rotate left. 1, 2, 3. Come back to the center, lengthen your arms, lift it up, side bend right. 1, 2, 3. Come back, lower the arms. Rotating to the left, it's exhale, exhale, exhale. Inhale, lift them up, and go over to the right. 1, 2, 3. Come back up. We'll have one more time. Stretch through the left arm and the left pectoral muscles. Come back, reach it over your head, and side bend to the opposite side. 2, 3. Come back up and drop your arms. Take your broom and put it behind you. You're going to catch it in your elbows and have your arms with the palms facing up, and this is the way I look. What I don't want is you to have the pole in your lumbar spine in the small of the back. Make sure it's more up in the mid-back where the ribs start, because when you start to get into the small of the back with something and you're pulling forward, it kind of makes you do this. It hurts after a while, and it gets you in a terrible posture. We want you to be straight. Okay? So very simply here, we're going to keep the chest lifted, and you'll notice that with the bowl there, it keeps your collarbone nice and broad. We're going to do 8 squats. Simple as can be. Keep your chest lifted. Go down as low as is good for your knees today. Sit back as if you're sitting into a chair, and then stand up. Exhale and inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. We have 4 more. Exhale. Inhale. Can you go lower? Exhale. Inhale. 2 more. Exhale. Inhale. Last one. Exhale. Inhale. Now let's see if we can add some leg movements to it, challenging our balance. All right, so you're going to go down in a squat and stand up, and you're going to lift your right leg into an abduction. And go down and lift it up into an abduction. And down. Make it one fluid move. We'll do one more after this. Toes point forward when you abduct. Now go down and lift the leg into tabletop. Squat, lift it into tabletop. Squat, lift it into tabletop. One more. Squat, lift it into tabletop. Squat, lift it up into tabletop and twist towards it. And squat, lift it into tabletop, twist towards it, try not to fall over. Squat, lift it into tabletop, twist, squat, lift it into tabletop, squid. Before we leave this side, let's get rid of the squats and add an abduction and a side lunge, right? So I'm going to abduct the right leg, side lunge, trailing leg is straight, leading leg is bent, toes pointing forward, side lunge, and come back. Side lunge, and come back if I got the abduction. Abduct, and side lunge, and come back. One more. Abduct, side lunge, and come back. Now let's add a lift to tabletop as we come back. Abduct, side lunge, come back and lift to tabletop. Abduct, side lunge, come back and lift to tabletop. Not too bad. I find that moving balances, for me, are much easier than static balances. We'll go over and come all the way back. Great. Let's try the whole thing on the other side, starting with not 8 squats, starting with the squat and the abduction on the left. Keep your chest lifted and squat and abduct left. Squat, check those toes. And it's toes that we check, but what we don't want to happen is to have the femur rotate in the hip socket. Good. Now we're going to go down and bring it into tabletop. And squat. And bring it into tabletop. Squat. Hesitate a little bit in tabletop. Now we add the twist. And twist. Good. Squat. And twist. And squat, lift it into tabletops, twist. And squat, lift it into tabletops, twist. I'm going to move over a little bit so I don't move out of your visual plane when I'm lunging. So this is the abduction and the side lunge, 3-plane to begin with. Abduct and side lunge. And yes, the hips go back when you side lunge, it's fine. And again. Now let's lift the leg into tabletop when we come back. So we're side lunging and lifting into tabletop. Abduct, side lunge, lift into tabletop. Abduct, side lunge, lift into tabletop. One more. Abduct, side lunge, lift into tabletop. Before we leave this position, have your legs at least hip distance apart, maybe a little wider, which is great. Refresh the position of your pole. Make sure that your elbows are not going out and medially rotating the arm bone in the shoulder socket. You want to have the arm bones externally rotating in the shoulder socket. So that would be more of a bias toward pulling your elbows together. All right, you can bend your knees a little bit to give them a little softness and actively lean forward. Right, you want to keep your chin pointing forward. Get the ribs and shoulders to rotate. And then come back. Now normally we have the head following the rotation of the ribs, but not today. Okay, so here you are, and you're going to rotate and try to get the lower shoulder under the chin, and that means you really have to open up that back shoulder. And come back. Let's try it again. So you're looking straight forward, and you're trying to get that body to rotate, and come back. One more time. And rotate, and come back. Stand up for a second. Let's do it on the other side. Bending your knees. There's a little play in the hips. It's not great. Chin looks forward, and you rotate. Now really pull that back shoulder up, 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 and get the ribs to move, not the head. And come back. And do it again. It's quite tricky because the head definitely wants to go, at least mine does. And one more time. Exhale, twist. And come back. And stand up. Move the broom to the front and have it right in front of you. We're going to do a simple front lunge. We'll start with the right leg, and as we lunge, remember that your body stays vertical. It doesn't lean forward, and both knees bend, not just the front knee. Okay? So as we go, we're just going to lift the broom, bend both knees, and come back up. Lift, and come back. Try not to lean forward. Keep your shoulders over your hips the whole time. Good. Okay, now I'd like you to turn your right palm up and your left palm down. Bring the broom to shoulder level, and as you lunge forward, your eyes are going to stay looking straight forward, but the arms are going off to the side and slightly up, which will turn your ribs a little bit. Okay? So here we go. We're going to step forward, look forward, and bring the broom to the side. And do it again. 2 more. 1 more. And come back. Switch sides. Okay, so why don't we have now, since we're going to the left on this one, the left palm will be up, right palm down. We'll go straight forward to begin with without the twist. Left leg leads. Bend both knees and come back. Again. And 3. 1 more. Okay, add the rotation of the arms and some ribs, not particularly of the hips, not of the head. And let's go. We're trying to disassociate what certain parts of your body are doing from what other parts of your body are doing, and they rarely like that. Keep your arms like this, step a little forward, and see if we can go into a back lunge. So it's going to be the right leg back, and the arms are going to the left, because you're always going to twist toward the leg which is in front. Okay? So here we go. We're going to go back and come up, and back and come up. Exhale and inhale. On this one, exhale, stay down low, put your knee down, put your broom down. If your ankle on the leg on the floor is in back of the knee, first bring it under the knee, and then bring it forward of the knee. Square your hips to the front as much as you can, and then you're going to draw the front knee forward toward the toes, but keep the pelvis upright. You don't want it to dump forward. Shoulders stay upright, the body's vertical, and you're going forward to try to get a hip flexor stretch in the back leg, which happens to be the right now. So if you feel a little pinch in the low back, tailbone down, back off a little bit and get that pelvis up. Now holding on to your broom, which will not move, you're going to move back, lift the toes of the front leg, and stretch back into a hamstring stretch. Feels good. And then come forward. That's the hip flexor stretch on the right, and the hamstring stretch on the left. Toes are lifted. You're really pulling through that back hip. Don't let it go out to the side like mine likes to do. And come one more time. Forward, pelvis up, chest proud, and then go back. Check your hips. Come back up, move the foot back in, turn the back toes under, lift the back knee, just hover, good for your quads, and stand up. Good. Let's have the back leg, left leg, go back, and we are going to have the right palm up and the left palm down. Almost forgot. All right, so here we go. We're going to lunge backwards, and the arms are going in the opposite direction. 4 times. 4 and 3. 2 more. 2 and 1. Hold it down there. Gently put the back knee down. Put your pole down for a little balance. Level out your hips. Look at the front leg. My toes are way in back of my knees, so So now I'm going to bring my toes, my ankle slightly in front of the knees. Keep the pelvis upright, keep the chest upright, keep the collarbone open. Do not have any pinch in the low back. Almost push forward with your sacrum as opposed to pushing forward with your ribs, and get that hip flexor stretch. Then lift the toes of the front leg. Lengthen out that leg. Pull the hip on that side, which is the right, way back. Now this is my tight side, so I really feel it. And then I'm coming forward, flexing the hips, stretching the hip flexor on the left. Now the hamstring on the right. Oh, could do this all day. And one more time. Forward and back. Keep your hand on the pole. Come upright with your body. Move the front foot back a little bit. Make sure your toes are turned under on the other side. Lift the knee just to hover off the floor. Feel good. And step up. Again, using the broom or your pole as kind of a prop to help your balance. Let's do an easy swing of the leg, forward and back. Easy. We're not trying to get super high or in the front or the back. We do want a little bend in the knees so we don't hit the mat either way. Just let the freedom of the hips happen. We're just going to go forward and back, and forward and back, and forward and back. It feels good. Just make sure your pelvis is not responding by going forward and back. It's stationary. It's the leg moving in the hip socket. Let's do two more. Forward and back. Easy swing. Forward and back. Bring it in. Okay, so now we're going to have the leg go out and in. And just as you see my arm rotating and coming back in, you're going to turn the toes out, going out, and turn the toes in, coming back. And you'll notice as my arm, it's the humerus rotating the shoulder socket. So in your leg, it's going to be the femur rotating in your hip socket. Okay, so start with the toes turning out and go out, and now come in. And go out and come in. This rotation is so healthy for keep healthy hips. We have four more. 4 and 3, 2 more. 2, 1 more. 1. Now take that leg. You're going to bend the other knee, cross the ankle over, and let's go down. Remember to flex the foot of the crossed leg. Let's just go down for a little stretch in the hip. And then come back up. Let's do the other side. So the broom goes to the other side. This leg just feels really loosey-goosey. Pelvis is going to be very still. Leg is going to be very free. Forward and back. You're not turning it out or in. Just forward and back. A little bend in the knee. Forward and back. And forward and back. Make sure that the leg doesn't particularly turn out when it's going back. Most legs like to do that. 4. And inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Really easy. Inhale, exhale, and stop. Now we're going to abduct with the leg lateral rotation and medial rotation as the leg adducts or comes in. Are we ready? Turn your toes out, turn your toes in. Turn your toes out, turn your toes in. This hip should stay in. Don't let it go out. Whoops, I reversed. Toes out, toes in. Toes out, toes in. Toes out, toes in. Last one. It's out and in. Using your pole as a prop, you're going to bend your stability legs or your standing leg and then cross the moving leg over. Flex the foot to protect the ligaments around the knee. Okay, and you're just going to go down as low as is good for you. And stretch the hips. And then stand up and uncross your legs. And let's finish up the standing segment by doing 3 variations of a protraction and a retraction. Take your club, your broom, your pole, your PVC pipe, and bring it right in front of you. Okay, so you want to have a nice neutral position of your shoulder blades. You should feel them flat against your ribs in the back. And as you reach your arms forward, you should feel the inside edge of your shoulder blades separating. And as you reach your arms backwards, you should feel the inner edge of the shoulder blades squeezing toward one another or toward the spine. It's protraction, going, separating, and retraction when they're coming together. Protraction and retraction. I like exhale and inhale on that. Okay, so that's variation number 1. Variation number 2, you'll feel the same sensation if you put your fingertips behind your head with your elbows pointing out, and then you're going to have your elbows come together, and you should feel the inner edges of your shoulder blades separate, and then open out and lift the chest, and you should feel those inner edges of the shoulder blades squeezing, and bring them together. Makes you want to flex, doesn't it? And open, and that's true. Protraction follows flexion, and retraction follows extension. Good. Third variation, interlace your fingers, turn your palms inside out, and reach your arms forward and feel how that is a very strong protraction of the shoulders. Don't let them lift. And if you want to, you can let the body flex. And then separate your arms, pull your elbows back, pull your thighs back, lift your chest and row. And then again, interlace your hands, go into flexion, and pull back into an extension. Now remember, it's the shoulders we want being extended. We don't want the hips to go forward. Protraction and retraction. One more. Flexion, extension, and bring your arms down. Part 2 of this bewitching workout is going to be on the mat. I'm going to take a little break so I can move the camera, and I'll meet you back on the mat in a second.